Hey guys, I'm Tammy Battaglia, and today I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes of the 2024 Garden Club Tour. We have 6 private homes and 5 community gardens that we're going to show little hints of today to encourage you to make it to the tour on June 22nd and 23rd, 11 to 5, rain or shine. Hope to see you there. All right, on to our first stop for the tour. Today we are at Beth Ann Durbin's Community Garden, and I'm so excited, Beth, that you're on our tour. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yes, of course.
I know how nerve-wracking it can be sometimes, but I want to talk selfishly as a gardener. When I think of my garden, I think of like my garden, but you've made this entire garden for the community. So you can tell us why, like what was the catalyst for that?
So 7 years ago, the Lord led me here to walk through a divorce after 23 years of marriage. So this is me rebuilding my life. It was a hard journey. As many have walked through this journey, as I have come through and out of mine. But it's just the Lord's love. So he would just keep beckoning me into this garden and just create this space for people that have really hard journeys and you really don't know where people are or what they're walking through. So it was just pouring out like his love through me into this space. So it's more of a gift than like an ask. So it's more of a gift and an invitation to like come and see what the Lord has done here. Not only in here, but for the community through this garden. And then just the harvest is just going to be just whatever the Lord just wants to bless the community with, as far as like the fruits and vegetables and bouquets of flowers. So that's kind of...
Okay, so I had in my notes that you were a new gardener, but I'm looking around and I don't feel like this is a new gardener. So can you talk about how you decided to use raised beds, how you decided to do the layout?
So it was just like trial and error. Like I've lost a lot of like trees and bushes and plants, and it was just me just encountering other people and just being led to like, free hostas, the plant sale, like, you can get like mulch and like things, half price at Lowe's and Home Depot. So it was just me encountering other people, and like, so really the community helped me build this, but it was just more of like creating more of a natural space. And just like a lot of people are going towards like organic, so it's like not using pesticides, and it was just more just natural woods, metals, no rocks, that kind of thing. So yeah, and I guess the Lord just kind of reminded me that I was really good at like making like floral arrangements, as my kids were growing up, decorating my house, and then my kids, needed like corsages or boutonnieres for, proms and homecoming dances. And I would go to the florist. And I just felt like I could make those, like I could do that. So then that's so the Lord was like, you've been in training to do this and you just didn't know it, or been allowed like the space in my life, to do it. So yeah, so this is just the result.
So I know that you live next door, and we're not touring your gardens for the tour, we're touring over here, but I have a kind of an eavesdroppy-ish question.
Sure.
Do you get to see out your window how many people come to enjoy your garden? Have you witnessed some moments of people in your garden?
Not yet.
Well, I hope you're ready, because the tour is going to make it very well known after this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
That's exciting though.
I know that. And it's just creating a safe space for people to come, like to pray for, the leaders of our city, for our community, for our schools, for our families, to have coffee, to eat your lunch, to have Bible studies, to come and worship, like whatever, like it's just here for whatever God has for the community.
That is outstanding. I did not know all of this about your garden before I came. I love this. Yeah. So you mentioned that you've gotten a lot of things donated, or I know you scored a table for $20.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to donate to your garden or your garden space, what is the best way for them to go about doing that?
So what's been kind of interesting is since I've said yes to the garden club, I've had people dropping off like these beautiful planters. People have been dropping off dirt. I have straw. I got a banana tree yesterday. Just people are coming from all over and just bringing me like plants and like just all kinds of things. So yeah.
Gardeners are very generous, so I totally get that. Okay, so if you want to bring something to Beth Ann, there's a garden gate you'll see probably on the tour here, and that's where you're going to bring it to. Is there a particular space, my last question for you, is there a particular space in this garden that means anything more than another to you?
That means anything more than another.
Like I see you have plaques, I see you have prayer cards.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really have, like, I really don't know. I'm trying to think, like, you know, I guess, so, like, I have 2 apple trees here. One got struck down by a storm, and then I was like, oh no, like, I have to get another tree. Yeah. But then it started to sprout another one after I had already bought the second one. Mm-hmm. So now I have, so it doubled.
Yeah. He provides.
He provided.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, I am super excited to have the tour come through here and for people to get to experience this. I know as a citizen, I walk by a lot. I had no idea the depth of this community garden. I will be dropping things off now for sure. So we are super appreciative of you being on the tour, and we look forward to seeing you.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you.
You're in for a real treat for this section of the tour. We have 3 houses that share what they call a uni garden or the compound. You're going to get a little snippet of all 3 of them, but our guest today is Julie McGinty. Julie lives in the center, and I want to find out from Julie how the heck you end up in the middle of your friends and you get to share your yard. So can you tell us about how you bought this property and turned it into this compound?
Well, the Ensmans moved in first, and they knew we were kind of looking to make a move downtown, and we had a rough timeline, and all of a sudden this place came up for sale and the timeline became very shortened. And so that was in 2017, and we both did quite a bit of work on the houses when we bought them and moved in, and then we tackled the yard. And I always say we should have kind of called it like HGTV because it was an extreme backyard makeover.
So what did it look like then? Because right now it's beautiful.
Right. Thank you. My property had a 6 or 8 foot privacy fence all the way around it, even cut like with the driveway. Couldn't see over it. Every level, completely fenced in. And lots of overgrown trees, and we just, Ensmans had a full wall, retaining wall in the back. Both walls needed some care and some cleanup. So the first step, we just tore down the fence because it was terrible and you felt like you were in a fortress. And we didn't have like a big pre-plan to kind of make it a uniyard. It just evolved that way. Yeah. We've known each other for a long, long time. I don't know, 25 years maybe. And working together on it was a lot of fun. It was kind of like, well, we need an excavator. Well, we need an excavator. Let's just do all of it. And it just kind of grew into the compound.
So our third neighbor.
Yes.
Did you know them, or did they're just like, hey, you guys are fun. We're going to add on to the compound.
Yes, they are. They are new to Lebanon and lovely, lovely people. And they just said, hey, you're fun. Let's be a part of the compound, which mostly happened because my wisteria would take over the neighborhood. And it started growing alongside of the front of the garage, which is a shared garage that we own half, they own half. Okay. And so we decided, well, let's build a pergola and make it intentional. And they did a really nice makeover on their back garden space. And yeah, we just have carved out our own little compound.
I love it. So it's like keeping up with the Joneses, but you guys all like each other, so you do a good job with that. So are there any particular highlights? I mean, I'm looking at a beautiful rose bush that I know we're going to feature here in a little bit, and I love the wisteria arbor. Are there any highlights to the garden that are near and dear to your heart?
I would say the wisteria. It was, I'm sorry, I keep turning my back. It was half the size on a tiny little arbor. It was growing up on the garage roof. And when we redid all of this, put in the patio, rebuilt the wall, I said, we've got to help that wisteria. So we brought it over this way, built it a bigger arbor. It still wants to take over the whole property. And so I just really love it. It's just really, I think, a unique feature and makes it a really cozy, inviting place.
Yeah, it's the perfect shady spot to have a meal.
Yeah.
So speaking of having a meal, I'm envisioning that you guys are out here together a lot, all the families hanging out together. Can you talk about how you share the space?
We do. We all love to be outside. We're all, outdoor lovers. And so we do find ourselves out here a lot. We share the mowing even. We take turns, like your turn, our turn, your turn, our turn. But we do. The next door, they have younger kids, so it's fun for them to just run around, cut through the yard to the backyard neighbors. And we just love being in our outdoor spaces.
Yeah. I think this is so fun. This would be a dream as a little kid to get to grow up with your neighbors. And I'm assuming maybe kids go in and out of the houses also, not just the yards all the time. Yeah. And I see there's more play equipment on the other side we'll feature. So the retaining walls where the property meets there, how much input did each neighbor give each other when they were picking?
Well, Ensman's did theirs first, and they really did a great job making it so that they had a walkout basement. It used to be you walked out, up and over the retaining wall, and then back down to the ground level. So they did a major rebuilding of theirs. And we just kind of repaired and did some facing on ours. Okay. So we matched them. Okay. They went first. We matched them.
I love it. So when you guys go plant shopping, is this a group activity?
No. I would say our plant choices and our gardening style is very casual and very much like, well, that looks nice, and I think it'll work in that spot. And it just all has kind of come together organically.
Yeah, it's evolving. So are there any new projects on the horizon, or does all three homes, are you feeling done at this point?
I'd like to say done. But, when you own a home, are you ever done? But I think we feel pretty done. Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Oh, you do not want to miss these three houses altogether. Julie, thank you so much for letting us come and visit today, and thank you for being on our tour. We'll see you June 22nd. A beautiful public garden we're highlighting this year is the Warren County Veterans Memorial Park. The statuary and plantings lend themselves to feelings of gratitude for those who served and have served our country. We encourage the garden tour visitors to take in this memorial and give a prayer of thanks and support for those in the military. Featured here, you're seeing the 1840s Greek Revival home that is surrounded by ornate black wrought iron fencing. This homeowner features her night garden with all white blooms, cobblestones that have been repurposed from Cincinnati streets, beautiful fountains, hitching posts, lovely statuary, modern and traditional, and this is a place that she loves to just sit and spend her evenings. You'll never guess what's beyond the gate of this 1870s Victorian home. Our handy homeowner has created an oasis that was originally nothing but a grass yard. Keeping with the theme of hidden gardens, behind this beautiful gate covered in climbing honeysuckle and wisteria, you are going to see a beautiful pollinator garden. This homeowner traveled to west of Mexico City to the Monarch Reserve and was inspired from that point on to create a beautiful pollinator garden full of native flowers and plants that attract bees, butterflies, hummingbirds, and more. While this garden is not officially on our garden tour, you will be driving by the 1883 firehouse called the Orient Fire Company. It was originally called this because it's on the far east end of Lebanon. All right, we're going to take a quick break at the train station today, and we're going to meet the president of the Lebanon Council of Garden Clubs, Bonnie Zirkle. Bonnie, thank you so much for being here today. I know you have a bunch of information for us in regards to the garden tour coming up. So if you would just give us the dates, the times, any kind of pertinent information you think we need.
Okay. Yes. So the dates of the garden tour are going to be June 22nd and 23rd. They're, both days are 11 to 5. And it's rain or shine. So, yes. And you can, you can purchase your tickets ahead of time. We do have a pre-sale of tickets. And those can be purchased at a couple of the downtown businesses, the brick house on Broadway. They do engraving. And also at the ice cream parlor. Okay. You can get tickets there, or you can buy them online. You can go to, it's the Lebanon Garden Tour 2024. Just click on that link and it'll take you right to the site where you can purchase tickets online. And if you do buy your tickets online, they're $15. You will get a voucher. So if you buy the tickets, whether you buy them at the stores downtown or if you buy them online, it is a voucher. So on the day of the tour, you still need to come to the station. Mm-hmm. Everyone comes to the station because that's where you will actually get your ticket. Mm-hmm. And when you come to the station, you'll get your ticket, your map, your directions. Also, there's a scavenger hunt, and we can talk about that in a little bit. There's a scavenger hunt that's involved in the tour, which they started a few years ago. A lot of fun. And we also will have complimentary water bottles available if you want to grab one of them on your way out. And they will also this is a walking tour this year. So we're really excited about doing a walking tour. Yeah. So hopefully the weather will be nice. And the nice thing about a walking tour is that it's going to be in the Northern Historical District here in Lebanon. It's a lot of older homes, and just walking around the neighborhoods, you get a better sense of the other beautiful gardens in the area and the houses, and what you don't notice when you're just driving by. Yes. So that's the thing that I like about walking tours is and we have done walking tours in the past. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be a walking tour this year.
I think one of the fun things about this tour, there's so many hidden gardens behind homes that maybe you've driven past or maybe you've walked past, but you've never opened that gate. And we're going to get to go through a lot of garden gates this year. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. Now, speaking of getting there, where should people park?
So once you leave here, once you get your ticket, you get your, turn in your voucher, get your ticket, get your map and so forth, you can really do the tour in any direction that you want. You don't have to go like to the first garden that we put on the map and second. You can really do it in any order. What we suggest is that you pick the garden you want to go to and find a place to park. And then if you're up for the walk, then just go from there. There is street parking on some of the streets. There is street parking, but we have asked several businesses in that area if we could use the parking this year for the tour, and which they all are. You'll find out that they are all in the vicinity of at least one or several of the gardens. So just to name some of them, they're at Coin Insurance. They have a parking lot. They said they would be happy for us to use that parking lot. The Veterans Memorial, it has parking there. It's kind of they're on high. You can enter from High Street or the street over. And that's, there's parking in that lot. Except for on Sunday, there may not be much parking until after churches. There is a church that uses that parking lot. So there may not be parking until a little, later in the day, maybe 12 or 1. So another parking lot is, I think it's called Hoskins Funeral home. Yeah, on Mulberry. And as long as they don't have any services going on, they said you could park in their parking lot. And again, these are close to some of the gardens. Also, Ricker and Ricker, the attorneys, they have a nice parking area in the back of their place, and they said we could park back there. And again, that's close to one of the gardens. So anyway, you can feel free to park in any of those locations. And again, street parking if you can find it. So,
and all the homes on the tour are definitely within walking distance. They're just a couple of blocks apart, most of them. Now, in addition to those, we've also shown you some highlights, and we will be showing you some highlights of community areas such as the Veterans Memorial, such as Cedar City Park. So we'll be able to, you'll get a good glimpse of Lebanon. And I would be remiss to say, make sure you stop by some of the shops in town. This is such a cute little city. We have so much to offer for everyone. Now, last year we had a Lavender Fest. Can you talk about that this year?
Yes. So the Lavender Fest, so the CC Blooms and Flower Garden, it's just north of town, a few miles out. It's close to Hidden Valley Orchards. And it's Jeff and Carol Conrad own this. CC Blooms, and it's just a wonderful place to go. And they have been on the garden tour before. Last year, we placed them as a community garden, just a place of interest, because last year they did a Lavender Fest the same weekend as the garden tour. And so that's something that, maybe after you've done the tour in town, you might want to go out to the country and visit them. They're going to have last year they had things going on like lavender soap making, and you can pick lavender, and they have some classes going on, and just various things they had going on. So it would well be worth your while to go up there and check that out.
Yeah, you can definitely make this a full day activity aside from just the garden tour. Now, really quickly, for people who are like, why do you even have a garden tour? Can you explain why the council puts on this tour every year?
Yes. So just to give a little bit of a history, like in the early 1970s, like 50 years ago, there were 4 garden clubs in Lebanon at the time. And this site that you're seeing here right now was just an empty lot, kind of grown up and just not good. And it was kind of a gateway into the city from 42. And so these women in these garden clubs back in those 4 garden clubs decided to acquire this lot, and they built the station as you see it behind us now. It was a replica of the Pennsylvania Railway Station. And so anyway, this has been going on for 50 years. And so they just did a lot of fundraising and I think they got help from the community. Everybody kind of pitched together to build this. So, 50 years later, we are still doing the same thing. We're trying to maintain this building, and this is why we do the fundraising. So we are responsible for the maintenance. Mainly the fundraising we do is for the maintenance of this building, just paying the bills. And so the council there's 2 garden clubs now. And so the council is those 2 garden clubs combined. And so we just join forces, the 2 clubs, for the maintenance of the building and for the upkeep of the grounds. The ladies in the garden club, well, men too, they are all responsible for all the beautiful flowers that, planting and designing and all those kind of things. So, and so, of course, there's that cost as well. That's why the council exists, is because of just to maintain our building. It's been a great place for our club meetings over the years. Both clubs meet here. The council meets here. And then besides doing fundraising, we collaborate on fundraising. So, which is the garden tour is definitely our biggest fundraiser. We just had a plant sale this past weekend, which was a great thing for the community too. And when we have smaller fundraising.
Well, aren't we going to be selling quilt tickets at this as well?
So there's a group of women who are quilters, some of them in the club, some not, and they will be selling, usually it's in November around the time of the horse-drawn carriage parade. They raffle off the quilt, and then the proceeds from that goes to the council for our expenses here. And so that's going to be happening again this year, and you will have the opportunity to buy tickets for that.
Okay, so anyone who is watching this and they're like, I want to get involved with the garden club, what should they do?
Yes, we're always looking for new members. So you can just you can just go to the Lebanon Council of Garden Clubs, and there's a phone number. There's many ways that you can contact us about and there is a number on our sheet. This is a little scavenger or flyer that we have up right now. There is a phone number on here, and it's a council phone number, so you can always call that number, leave a message that you're interested in gardening, and we will get back with you if no one answers. So actually, I'm taking those calls right now, so I will answer.
Okay, so in addition to the tour on the day of, we also have a scavenger hunt. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay, yes. So the scavenger hunt, it became a part of the tour. Like, again, this is the 34th year that we've done this garden tour. And so just a few years ago, I believe, someone had a great idea to do something a little more fun. And we had these little gnomes, and decided to do a scavenger hunt, just kind of to make it a little more fun, something to do at the gardens and to find something. So what you do is when you come to the station for your tickets, they will give you a scavenger hunt card. There will be 6 private gardens on the scavenger hunt card, 2 public gardens. And one of those public gardens will be here. I'm not sure what the second one will be, but one will be here. So what you do is when you get to those gardens, you're going to be looking for a sign that says something of interest, and that the gardeners have picked out something that they want to kind of they find of interest. It could be a plant, it could be a tree, it could be whatever, sculpture, fountain, whatever. And so then once you find it, it'll have a sign by the gnome, and you just write something like a word or two down about that on your card. So once your card is completed, and you do have to complete it, all 8 of them, you can turn it in to any of the to the hostesses at the gardens. Once you filled it in at your last one, give it to any of the hostesses there. They will bring it back to the station, or you can drop it off at the station, whatever you want to do. But what happens is that you will be entered into a drawing for both days, and for Saturday and Sunday, and the winner, who's ever, if your name is drawn, you'll get a little tree, and it's full of just gift cards and that sort of thing, which have all been donated by businesses around town, by private people, just citizens and members and so forth. So it is, it usually amounts to like $100 or so for each tree. Yeah. So anyway, and kids love doing this. And we really do encourage to bring kids. 12 and under is free. Okay. And I just feel like, these are our future gardeners. So, it's get them started early, and they have the interest now. Then when they are older, they will remember, hey, I remembered, doing gardening with my grandma or my mom, or her taking me to these things. And so anyway, we just want to start young.
Yeah, I know last year it was fun to watch the kids run around and try to find the gnomes, and they were so excited. And some of the husbands, this is a good way to keep people excited while you're touring gardens. Yeah. Any other highlights that we want to cover here before we let you go?
I'm just trying to...
I know there's a lot of information for the tour this year. It's going to be so great. Like she said, it's the 34th annual. It's going to be rain or shine, so make sure you're dressed appropriately.
Yeah, so the tickets, maybe I didn't finish that. The tickets are $15 pre-sale. If you can buy up until Friday night. On Saturday and Sunday, you get your tickets only here at the station, and they're $20 at this. So I don't know if I mentioned that.
And all the money goes directly to keeping the train station
Yeah, all the
alive and
proceeds
happy.
will go to maintaining the station and the grounds here.
Yes. Well, Bonnie, thank you so much. Thanks for putting this on. I know it's a lot of work, but we really appreciate it. That it's a great way to highlight our cute little city. So,
Yeah.
all right, we're on to our next garden. All right, we're on to our next garden. So I want you to meet Mary and Mark Fye. They live right here in town, and you're going to be able to wander through their amazing backyard as well as their front and side yard. But I want to introduce them and get them to tell us some of the little tips and tricks of how they've created this space, because it is truly amazing back here. First of all, thank you so much for letting us come into your yard and your private space. How long have you guys lived here?
We've been here 24 years as of the 1st of this month.
Okay. So how long has the garden looked like this?
About the front, about 20 years. This completely changed last year because of our granddaughter's wedding.
All right, that's right. So we've determined this is the family celebration space. We've had vow renewals, we've had weddings, and we're going to have another vow renewal, or just a celebration of your 30th? Okay, they're getting ready to celebrate their 30th wedding anniversary back here. So tell us about what all you had to do to get ready for the wedding.
The whole backyard was a wire fence and rows of Sharon and scrub,
Wild honeysuckle.
all kinds of things like that just built in. So it had to be completely demolished, taken out.
About 9 trees were cut down that were on the property line. So we wanted to make sure we weren't encroaching on our neighbor's property. So we had a bunch of not so nice trees that were taken down as well.
We also had a giant maple tree that was bigger than this one behind our barn.
That's the
That
part
began,
right there.
yes, part of hers right behind us. Her name was Hildy. I name all the trees. And she was falling apart, so we actually had to bring the rest of her down too, missing our barn.
So you got large equipment back here to do all this, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How did you do that? I'm just looking around.
Once the fence was down, then with the 4 dachshunds, we had to be really careful for a few days.
There's a pass through between our barn and garage that they can drive equipment through as well.
And so the wedding was just last year, is that correct?
June 3rd, yes.
Was she pleased, I'm guessing?
She was extremely pleased, yes. Mark brought her down the aisle, the deck, into the yard to 160 guests. And
Yeah.
Wow. That is so sweet. What a memory to make.
oh, it was wonderful.
So before you got into the wedding business, we'll call it, what was your favorite part of your garden, or did you get to really use it when your children were younger? And, is this something new to you to really get to use it?
We still used it. It's always been a good yard for cornhole and croquet, and we've had family reunions and all kinds of things. So we've always majorly used our yard. And we saw this on February 29th, the year 2000, at 9 p.m. at night. And we're amazed at the size of the yard. And we bought it by 11 p.m. the next night. Aww. We bought the house without ever seeing it in the daylight. And we didn't have our other house up for sale.
Okay, so you're adventurous. We'll go with that.
A little bit. Just loved the potential of the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. At one point, we had 4 raised beds on the side of our yard, and we tried, a nice vegetable garden there with peppers and tomatoes and such. But we have a black walnut tree that the drip line does not allow a lot of things to grow underneath it. So we had to abandon but with the other tree gone, we can probably relocate to the other side of the yard, and we'll probably be putting in vegetables at that point, tomatoes and peppers and such. We like a salsa garden.
Yep. And that's a gardening tip. Nothing much grows underneath a black walnut tree.
Good to know.
Lily of the Valley is one of the few things that will grow under a black
See, we're giving you tips on the tour today. Mm-hmm. So now I read in my notes that you got started with an herb garden. Can you talk about why that's so special?
We entertain a lot, thus the parties and weddings we've had here. So that's one of the biggest things. And there's nothing like cooking with fresh herbs. Mm-hmm. So we used to live in Marymount, and I had a huge herb garden there. So when we moved here, this area in front of the garage was just some flowers, a little funky place. Mm-hmm. And it took a couple years, and I just transformed it into my herb bed.
Okay.
And now it's considered the community garden. A lot of the neighbors will come, and they know they can get herbs from here too.
Yeah, that is super nice. So this is the second garden that we've had on our tour today where people are open to visitors, but not everybody, just saying.
That's true. That's true. One of our best friends moved back to Switzerland a few years ago, and she called herself the neighborhood bunny because she came over all the time. So when she found out about this, she's like, oh, the bunny's missing my herb bed.
Oh, cute. So I can't help but notice this beautiful tree that we're standing under, and I'm assuming it's obviously been here the whole time. What did you have to do, or have you had to do anything to keep this tree happy and healthy while you did all of this work in the yard?
Yes, there's actually some, what do they call those things? Wires up there holding some of the branches together. We're seeing the tree begin to age, and it's very worrisome, as you can imagine. Sure. This area in 1974 was when the Xenia tornadoes came through, and there was damage on Mound Street. Okay. And we actually had a neighbor who had reel-to-reel tapes of the area. Mm-hmm. So we realized this tree wasn't even here, right?
No. So it's it's probably 50 years old, maybe.
Oh, okay. I thought it would have been here longer.
Yeah, we were surprised to see that it wasn't even there.
Yeah. Well, it makes the perfect outdoor shaded space for you, so I can see why you guys use this so much. I also can't help but notice all the signage. So who's the signage buff, Mark?
That's both of us, really. The first one we got was the the national park stop sign that we found in an antique. We are avid antiquers, and we go to lots of places like this. None of these came from active use. They are all retired use.
We promise.
We've purchased over the years. So it's been a accumulation. That's kind of our transportation area over there with the train and the bicycle and the truck and such. So we like to have different venues.
Yeah, it's a fun way to decorate and makes everything so festive back here. I love it. Any other highlights of the garden here that you want to make sure everyone gets? We're not showing them everything today because, we got to tease them. But I see that adorable corner back there with the swings.
That is an idea I saw on Facebook, and last August we made it happen. I call it my boho swing set. So you can sit back there with a glass of wine and hang out in the shade and swing. So yes, or you can hang out on the hammock. We do use our whole yard.
Yeah.
And we have our shade garden, which tends to have more fanciful things in it, my gnomes and fairies and such like this. So I'd like to pop cute, hopefully delightful little things around the property.
Yeah. So as a fellow dachshund mom, I have to ask, how do you have 4 of them and I do not see holes all over your yard?
Blessedly, they're not. Ours aren't diggers.
Oh, okay.
This batch, I've always had dachshunds, but one is less than 10 pounds, and she is an escape artist, so we can have issues with her. Yeah. But we've always said that for dachshunds, this yard is gigantic.
Oh, yeah.
For dachshunds, it's humongous. So
yeah, they probably get to the grass and run out of energy and have to lay back down. I love it. I love it so much. Well, I am so appreciative of you letting us come here today to talk to you and for opening your garden up for us for the garden tour. I know a lot of people are going to be really happy when you get back here and you get to see this for the first time. We've talked a lot about the hidden gardens on our tour this year. And I think that's the beauty of an in-town garden is that you can walk by and it's pretty, but you never know what's behind that gate. And so you're going to get to see behind the gate here today. So thank you so much. Thank you. All right, we're going to wrap up our tour today talking about 2 of our public gardens. The first one here we're in is Cedar City Park. You can see we're standing by this beautiful butterfly sculpture. The park's only a couple of years old. The city of Lebanon actually built this for us. It's a great place if you're riding the train or if you're just out walking and you need a place to sit. I also know it's a hot spot for prom photos. So if you live around here, you've probably got some pictures here. And then I want to toss it back to Bonnie. She's going to talk about our actual pollinator garden that we have here in Lebanon that, again, the day of the tour, we encourage you to drive to and go see.
Yes, so there's a pollinator butterfly garden out in Miller Ecological Park, and that's going to be one of the community gardens, just like this one. And just to give a little history of it, it was designed, and about 10 years ago, the Lebanon Garden Club was given an opportunity to develop this a patch of land out there, and they built this garden, started planting and, from the ground up. And it has really grown into it's a pretty big garden, and it has really filled out, and there's a lot of interest there. And I just wanted to also say we really encourage you to, if you have a chance, it's just on the north side of town, right off of Miller Road. You can park at the front entrance there off of Miller. If you take the path to the left, it'll go down a little ways, and the garden kind of sits back a little bit off the path. You do have to walk through the grass a little bit, but it's really worth seeing. I think you'll love it. And also, the Lebanon Garden Club, we have a butterfly release there in the summers in August. This year is August the 10th. And it's in the morning, so that's a fun event as well.
Yeah. We hope you enjoyed all the teasers that we gave you today of the 34th Annual Garden Club Tour. It's happening June 22nd and 23rd, 11 to 5, rain or shine. Please come and see this beautiful tour and visit our great city of Lebanon.